All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful and honestly a kind of uncomfortable idea about what it takes to succeed as a trader. It's this hidden goal that might be completely sabotaging your progress without you even realizing it.
So what is it? I mean, really, what are you actually chasing in the markets? The obvious stuff comes to mind, right away. But the analysis we're digging into today says that for the most part, we're all missing the point. It's not what you think.
For starters, it's not profit. I know, that sounds crazy, but think about it. Money is the result, right? It's the scoreboard. But it's not the deep, fundamental feeling that's actually driving your decisions day to day.
And it's not even freedom. That big dream of financial independence, being your own boss. That's a huge motivator, no doubt. But it's still not the core feeling we're secretly after when we sit down to trade. This is it. Comfort. That feeling you get from a system that just works. A strategy that feels easy, stress-free, totally predictable. We're all looking for a path that doesn't feel hard, that doesn't demand we change who we are to succeed. And here is the gut punch. That desire for comfort, which is so completely human and understandable, is the very thing that guarantees failure. Why? Because in a game of uncertainty and constant change, chasing comfort isn't just a bad strategy. It's a one-way ticket to stagnation. So let's really break this down. Let's talk about the comfort trap, and this paradox that the place you feel safest is actually the most dangerous place you can be.
Now, to see why this trap is so hard to escape, we gotta look at our own wiring. And I'm not speaking metaphorically here, this is straight-up biology.
You see, your brain is a total energy hog. It uses a massive amount of your body's resources, so its number one goal is to be as efficient as possible. When you do something over and over, your brain builds these little shortcuts, these habits, so it can run the task on autopilot and save fuel. That autopilot mode, that's your neurological comfort zone. It's not a state of mind, it's a state of energy conservation. But here's the catch, right? That efficiency is the absolute enemy of getting better. Real growth, real skill, it only happens when you step outside that automated zone and you force your brain to build brand new connections, because the old ones just aren't cutting it anymore.
And this leads us to a concept from the psychologist Anders Ericsson, who studied top performers in every field imaginable. He found the secret wasn't some innate talent, it was this: deliberate practice. It's not just repeating something 1,000 times. It's about pushing yourself right to the very edge of your abilities, that sweet spot where it's hard, but not impossible.
And this slide right here really nails the difference. See, most people just repeat. They take the same trades, make the same mistakes, and then wonder why they're stuck. That's repetition. It keeps you cozy in your comfort zone, and the only thing it does is make you faster at making your old mistakes. But deliberate practice, that's about building skill. It pushes you out, and it creates a capability you literally didn't have before. Okay, so if we have to leave the comfort zone, how do we actually handle the fear and discomfort that comes with it? Well, for that, we're going to pivot from modern neuroscience to ancient philosophy.
The Stoic philosopher Seneca had this brilliant technique. He practiced what you could call voluntary hardship. He would purposefully live with less, eat simple food, sleep on the floor, not because he was a masochist, but to prove to himself that he could handle it. He'd face his fears on his own terms and ask himself, really, this is what I was so afraid of?
And what Seneca was doing is basically a form of psychological inoculation. You're giving your brain a small, controlled dose of what you're afraid of. And every time you do it and survive, you prove to yourself that the fear of the thing was way worse than the thing itself. And when a fear gets exposed like that, it loses all its power over you.
So what does this actually look like for a trader? Well, here are a few ideas. Force yourself to trade a boring, mechanical strategy. It fights your brain's need for excitement. Or sit through a drawdown without changing a single rule. That inoculates you against the fear of losing money. Better yet, watch the market for a full week and play 0 trades. That builds the discipline to say no. These aren't punishments. They're training exercises for your mind.
All right, let's get practical. How do we build this into a real plan? Because this isn't about random suffering. It's about strategic, well-designed discomfort.
And this is the key takeaway. If your plan for getting better feels easy, it's not a development plan. It's a comfort management system. And all that system is designed to do is keep you exactly where you are. It's going to give you a plateau, not a breakthrough.
So here's how you can start designing discomfort.
First, when you review your worst trades, stop looking for just the technical mistake. Dig deeper. Find the psychological error, the impatience, the fear of missing out, the ego. That's the part that stings. Second, the very next session after a big loss, trade your normal size with your normal rules. It's one of the hardest things to do, but it proves if your system is real or just a fantasy. And third, find people and ideas that actually challenge you, that don't just pat you on the back. The idea that makes you feel defensive, yeah, that's probably the one you need to look at most.
Ultimately, this whole thing boils down to a single choice. A fundamental choice you have to make about what you're really willing to do to get what you want.
Just think about that for a second. That feeling of ease, of safety, of knowing what to expect. That feeling of comfort that you work so hard to protect.
That comfort is the ceiling you are accepting for your own potential. Every single time you choose what's easy over what's hard, you are reinforcing the upper limit of what you can achieve. That is the trade-off. It is always the trade-off.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final question from the source material. It's not about your charts or your strategy. It's about you. What is the single most uncomfortable truth about yourself as a trader that you already know deep down and have been successfully ignoring? That's the door. Everything you say you want is waiting for you on the other side of it.